I was sitting in Soho today and just vibing and laughing, in essence, at the concept and the thought of thinking about myself, as like a DJ sequence situation, that kind of energy in front of a bunch of people. It is sort of comical. It's a bit comical. It was a little bit of a interpersonal chuckle and such things. Welcome to the news. Yeah, in Soho. So I was just sitting there and just kind of like, even though I have earphones in my ears and such things, there's aspirations to do DJ stuff and such, because that is an element that's relevant to be able to try to pull attention and such thing. And the actual job and the position of a DJ in of itself is to hold it, to have attention. That's their actual job. So, in essence, the purpose is to have DINKY Tech for Change for Game Studios hold attention for the brand for Change for Game Studios, in essence. And so, conceptualizing that energy was sort of a silly chuckle, because it's something that's unfamiliar, extremely unfamiliar. Playing music and performing music in the past is not entirely and 100% unfamiliar, but the idea of DJing and pre-recording all the sounds and such things, and then presenting is not, in other words, the music with such things as like decks and whatnot, it was a comical item, how to use and how to have that energy be in the front and the forefront of people. It's very interesting conceptually, because it's like, it's comical. It's hard to describe, because it's like unfamiliar, it's awkward and such things, but at the same time it's like an unknown, like DINKY Tech, and also still very unknown status aspect and such things. So being able to try to go out there and push that brand in the mix out there in life and time, and try to ask people to get to know you as people who are strangers, to try to get to know you. It's part of the interest of putting the speaker outside, the speaker in my bag, to be able to try to get awareness to the brand, to the DJ brand and such things. But the actual energy, the DJ energy, for the first time, from the unfamiliar side, is quite unfamiliar. It's quite peculiar. It's quite unique, because you're not actually using your vocals, which in the past, when I've performed music, I've always used my vocals. And so I've been holding a mic, and so therefore it's like you're holding the mic and you're also kind of hiding behind the mic, but at the same time you're using the mic to be able to direct the performance, to direct the flow of such things, and at the same time you're engaging in the music and the sound at the same time, because you're playing a role in a part. But when it's all pre-recorded and you're actually just dialing in and dialing up and changing and shifting knobs and certain items to optimize the sounds, then in essence you're actually just having to perform yourself and dance in a certain respect, to a certain extent, that people are able to vibe and connect and coalesce with your energy, in essence, as you're playing music and such, as a person, as you're standing there, being a representation of the music as a standing person in of itself, which is a peculiar item and a peculiar thing to ask of someone such as a DJ when you're really just trying to play music. But that is really what's also being asked, is to be able to have that necessity to be able to put yourself as a centerpiece in the midst of the music, as like a centerpiece energy at the same time, while you're standing there and twisting knobs and such things. But that's why it's comical, because at the same time we would like to have other aspects of performance on stage, if there ever was an ability to get that far down to be able to try to have other elements, other different dance sensations and such things on the stage, but not dancing necessarily, but peculiar, quirky, weird things on stage. Many weird things on stage. It's hard to describe exactly what elements would perfectly go on stage, but a variety in essence. And so it's not exactly a chuckle, it's sort of a conceptual trying to connect with doing more so sounds outside, playing music outside, developing more music and playing more music outside, in essence, to be able to try to bring more awareness to the brand of DINKY Tech and Change for Game Studios. But it's also a chuckle because of the unfamiliarity of DINKY Tech and such, as the self, as unfamiliarity to the public and such things, which is very, very, very strange. It's very strange indeed, especially with a lot of unknown energies. It's very overwhelming. It's lofty. It's peculiar. It's not but the comical side is being the DJ personality and standing there, and I said standing there like that, which is something that hopefully not going to stand. Hopefully not going to stand anyways, because we'll try to add different elements. We're trying to add different stories. We're trying to add stories for Change for Games, and Change for Games stories, and Games for Change stories, and all of the above, so that the vibes, the energy, the vocals have to do somehow, or all of the music energy is able to transition directly into the purpose of the main frame of the purpose of the brand, which is Change for Game Studios, which is the greater good of the philanthropic energy, global giving grid ice rink in the sky, to be able to connect that primary machine into the on-the-ground sound of developing DJs and DJ shows and such things, whatever it takes, I guess, to try to add more sound. But then to be able to take that to step 2, to activate the games, aspect is the interviews aspect, I guess you could say. It's like that's the first necessity, or the necessary necessity, to be able to try to activate the games aspect, which is to be able to try to unlock revenue more so with the public, with connecting with the public. Like DJing is one way to try to garner attention, but that takes a while to garner revenue through that necessarily, I would imagine. So in terms of unlocking revenue, one of the intentions and the intents is, as mentioned yesterday, in a sense, is to try to basically come up with things like wee wipes, like pee wipes, which in essence is like it's a market because males have a difficulty having the ability to just like wipe themselves after urinals and such things when there's no toilet paper and such things, and it's not common to use toilet paper at all for men, so they just kind of dribble into their own pants, and that's really a bad thing in my opinion. So it's at least trying to just address that market, even though it's kind of really just a joke. It's a parody, it's a satire, just to even try to address that market, because the element and the essence is to be able to address comedy and bring comedy into the nature of even trying for that situation, that game, that element, that instance, that peculiarity. So with that in mind, part of it is to be able to go up to somebody randomly and be like, hey, so what do you think? Do you want to be partners with me on this item, this wee wipes items necessarily? So we're kind of bringing up the item, we're bringing up the concept, we're bringing up the talk, we're bringing up the chat, we're bringing up the thing, and that's the game. That's the game that we're bringing to the person. That is the logo. That's the challenge. Would they accept the challenge? Yes or no? Do you want to be partners on a random business? Yes or no? It's like Simon Squibb. He goes up to people and asks them if they want their dreams, what they want for their dreams. And so in a similar fashion, this is a little bit changed. It's a little bit different, so it can go either way. I could go up with a pre-made idea such as that, like wee wipes, and be like, hey, do you want to do wee wipes with me, and see if they'll do it, yes or no. But they have to put in work and such things. So they'll have to actually put in work on the back end and agree to it on a video contract, in essence, by doing it live and asking them a live interview if they'll do it. And then therefore they're kind of obligated, just like in Shark Tank, to be able to try to follow through on the back end, and then you can see if there's a follow through on the back end or not. So it's like the Squibb Games, to be able to try to kick off the games aspect of Dinky Tech and Shades for Game Studios as a brand, to be able to go ahead and do that. But yeah, it's necessary to be able to be held accountable and be accountable to be able to do that action. But at least being able to start with some of the ideas, some circles that are incomplete, because they're incomplete energies, because they're plates that are spinning, plates that aren't continuously able to be spun. So if we talk to those people on the street, then they might be able to continue to keep the plate spinning, or at least that interview in and of itself, if it's published and posted online, is able to be a symbol for that plate to be able to keep it spinning in of itself as a media content piece, and a logo and such thing that can correspond to it per se. And that person in that interview sense is more or less answering the question if they would like to partner on it, basically in that similar sense, where it's similar to Simon Squibb asking people like, what would they like to do with their, some kind of business, this, that, the other thing, except having it's like a pre-filled out business. It's like, would you like to do this pre-filled out business, yes or no? But on the other hand, we might do it like Simon Squibb, also similar-ish, but where we're like, what would you like to do with yourself? And then we'll make an energy off of the back of that, but we also want to make like a bot, like a trading bot on the back end of that energy. So we want to do that on both instances either way, whether we're collaborating and creating a business to develop to do together, which is also a fake business similar to wee wipes. It's a fake business that we might be able to try to pre-sell in a Shopify store. So that's kind of the goal, is to have two things to come out of each interview, if possible, in an ideal sense, is like with each logo, corresponding logo. We're going to try to come out with each individual person that we interview, either with one thing that is a trading bot. We're going to try to develop a trading bot from the energy of the person that we're interviewing, and then also the other one is like an actual product, like wee wipes that we're either walking up to them and asking them if they want to partner on it, or we're developing, hey, what do you think is this, that, the other thing, with like in the industry of there not being enough wipes for men, so let's make wee wipes, so then we come up with it together. but obviously it could be a different idea. It could be like another bathroom essential that we come up with if we're talking about that in the interview, and the purpose is to make something on the fly. It's to create something on the fly, but also to send it. Like with like a Shopify store, we'll try to develop and release and pre-sell a Shopify store. Basically by developing these interviews, so that in essence by the end of the interview we have like a trading bot and also maybe like a Shopify store that we're releasing a potential minimum viable product that we have available to be able to release somehow, but we can either source through existing retailers and resellers and print on demand sellers, or we'll have to consult a manufacturer or something like that. But that person is then therefore also again that person stands for, just like in the Shark Tank sense, in the Shark Tank game, Shark Tank sense, that stands for that person being the plate spinner. That person is the plate spinner. It's that person's business in the Shark Tank. But in this instance, we're creating something live together. It's like a collaboration of a business live one way or another, and it's like a game. It's a game. We're playing games. We're playing business games, but also with a real potential to develop real revenue on the backside at the same time of the media that we're developing and such things. So we're trying to go from here and continue to spin this game into the Squibb Games, and also it's like the Shark Tank has something. There's a corresponding guy, Phil Smith, who is constantly coming up on advertisements recently around my media feeds and such things, to where he's also asking about having the service available where he's able to grow businesses as well as exit from businesses necessarily, because it is a relevant item to be able to do that, because also he has the Shark Tank people on his team, and there's not just one but two of them, and I feel like I might have seen Damon John today, but it was too difficult in Soho from a distance. Oh yeah, but he's wearing a suit, and yeah, he looked like him, at least similar fashion from a distance. Anyway, so yeah, Phil Smith has connections to one of the sharks, and their partnership is also offering this cool software. It's from the sound of it, from just like the beginning from off the cuff, like you just get this cool software that does a lot of AI as well as correspondence and CRM work, and a lot of software for correspondence and follow-ups and free emails and phone numbers and dialers and such things to be able to do outreach and sales, to be able to continue to try to grow a business. And at the same time, he wants to actually be participating in growing the business, although it's a little bit peculiar and murky how to decipher some of the ads and the advertisements that I've seen over time. It seems like that's the bottom line, is for them to be able to try to grow other people's businesses and then also help to try to exit with them as like a partner and a partnership deal and a partnership thing. So that's why it's also relevant and correlative to the Shark Tank example, I suppose you could say, because that guy is kind of doing that, and that's also an attractive offer because he has that software, and that software could be cool in essence, but at the same time he's just kind of well connected and well piped in, obviously, to a shark. And it was always ever since that Shark Tank show came on, always an item that was quite highly of interest to be able to try to work with a shark somehow or another, because regardless of the money, ultimately just being able to work with a shark is an item that's ideally attractive enough to be able to try to grow, at least guarantee some growth based on the current existing position in space. And then you could also factor in a deal where you just compensate them based on the growth aspect. I don't know. Anyway, beyond that though, that's kind of like the type of deal that we want to try to make if we're live with other people, where we're able to make live deals and such things, and it's peculiar, and we're just talking about it right now on the fly. It's like we're making a show, but at the same time we're just trying to do interviews and such things, like to add to like this podcast in essence, to be able to add other people and external energy, to be able to try to start the games, and then start a brokerage beyond that, and start momentum, because that's part of what this podcast is all about, is trying to pull the choke cord. In fact, I was trying to download some old Facebook videos from a couple years ago that actually were today, because Facebook is supposed to delete them supposedly, so I was trying to get them off the computer and such things at the Apple Store. And it was funny because I turned around for 2 seconds after, and they were just soon to close and such things. And so as I turned around for 2 seconds, went through my bag, all of the things that were downloaded on the computer before I got the chance to upload them were erased because the home screen came up on the App Store, and it completely made them all go away, which is super funny. It took like an hour to download them all. So anyway, it's silly. We'll see if it's possible to find them later. But nonetheless, I look like a chump, a peculiar putz, silly monkey moron in a lot of those videos. But nonetheless, we're trying to see if there's any advice to the self to be able to try to recover from that, because there was advice to the self, and it was interesting to try to learn from the self, from watching the self a little bit just at a time, but while downloading some of the other videos. And there's a lot, but we're trying to transcode transcode, and transpawn some of that information from the past to be able to try to learn from the self, to be able to grow from the self in a similar fashion. We're trying to do this podcast to try to be able to develop momentum, to try to develop steps of momentum that are trying to add to a forward trajectory, to be able to try to continue with more of these podcasts that are hopefully helping the self to be able to take more actions, to be able to try to connect more people in an ideal sense, because that's what's so comical in a scary actually way, in essence, by talking about the DJ performance in a mental sense with people outside and such things, because it's a little bit daunting and peculiar and strange and unknown and unfamiliar and murky and peculiar indeed, because just the outside folks, and not knowing exactly how a lot of the content chimes to be able to try to play music live. Playing music live. A lot of it will start out as other people's music and such things, but I hope to start factoring in more and more, developing more dinky tech music. And already there's just an interest in try to coalesce and develop different overlapping genres and such things, so that a lot of them have EDM. We're trying to overlap a lot of genres to connect with EDM. They all will connect with EDM, all basically, but mostly punk with EDM is the first priority in essence, but all genres are meant to be transitioned into EDM, is the goal, is the plan, is the interest, to be able to continue to develop music, to continue to develop the Dinky Tech and Squibb Games Studios brand. Anyways, it's always a work in progress, but it's more so ideal to have other people align somehow, and so hopefully we can get around to playing these games, starting to play the games with the other people through interviews and such, to be able to try to continue to develop random business concepts with people outside that are live in little videos, like the Squibb Games, like Simon Squibb. So this is like the Squibb Games. The Squibb Games. That's the name of this episode, in any instance. And so, attempt for accents, speeds. Anyway. Clams Casino is someone to aspire the sound to as well. I like his sound. He's a music person. But anyway, we're trying to also do more Forex accounts as well, to try to earn more monetary energy for the business as well. In essence, we'll have try to multiples of Forex prop firm accounts, if it's possible, to pass them multiples of trying to pass foreign exchange accounts to be able to use prop firm money, try to ideally raise more money with prop firm money to be able to get other traders to be able to partner with us and such things, and or just try to continue to pass prop firm challenges, because it's like paying for more money without paying for more money, and just paying less money to get more money with prop firm money, if it's possible to use bots to be able to try to pass those challenges and then also earn money from that money. But it's also less risk that you can take, which is not to say that that's a bad thing necessarily, if you can systematize some of the earnings and some investments, and then try to have different hedges on different aspects, to be able to try to vary and make variations within the portfolio and to try to consistently develop upward facing revenue and development, and constant onward learning about investing. That's one of the biggest aspects of spiritual finance as well. Spiritual finance is very deeply rooted in learning, always trying to learn from the deepest roots possible, and grow the roots and do little quantum jumps through learning as well. Absolutely. Spiritual finance is all about that, through getting lost in murkiness and then trying to find just new lights through spiritual finance and quantifications of different energies at all given times that basically do somewhat transpose you and transcode you and transpose you into different places and spaces and time by trying really hard analysis and really hard understanding of finance in different aspects, because that energy understanding and that energy calibration and recalibration of energies in the finance sense, which when it's looked at as energies, when it's all looked at as energies as opposed to just numbers on a paper, when it's all you're a part of the energies, and you make your own energy and your own chemistry a part of the energies that you're trying to feel, because they're all part of the world. All the energies that you're dealing with in finance all have to do with energies that are in the world, and so if you make yourself a part of those energies, to where you can try to feel those energies that's one of the best and greatest and biggest and most significant aspects of spiritual finance, I think, that there are. Anyways, hopefully this is, yeah, that's all for now, I mean. Anyways, yeah, thanks again, DINKY Tech. Bye, peace, bye.